3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading, in particular, mystery reading number 993. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work, and would like to help support it, you can do so by sticking around and hitting that subscribe button down below, and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. If you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, welcome, and thank you very much for your support, as well as your presence during this reading. So starting with interpreting the number 993, the number 9 is about purpose and helping the world release what no longer works. I just saw the number 111 on the timer, which is another number with its own message about encouraging you to trust yourself. Whatever sense of purpose you feel led by, trust that feeling. And whatever you feel called to let go or to release, to honor that sense of purpose, to have a positive impact on the collective and in your own life, trust yourself. I know sometimes it can be easy to question ourselves when people question our character because of these difficult decisions. But you truly do know what you deserve. And if you feel like you don't, maybe it could be beneficial to reflect on why you feel that way. And release whatever is standing in the way of you really understanding that and seeing your true potential, your true value. If you are a good person with good intentions, genuinely trying your best, you should always listen to criticism, but don't always put so much weight into it. Over time, it may really start to get easier. The more that you practice reflecting on what you actually deserve, the more it'll get easier to really know, and you won't have to really think about it as much. 1 second. Put this on Do Not Disturb. I forget to do that. I just saw 3-2 on the timer. Another sign. Well, not another, because one hasn't come through. Maybe you saw these signs before. But this is a sign to trust that everything happens for a reason. I suppose that notification sound was significant for a reason. Perhaps the universe and your spirit guides are trying to notify you of something or bring something to your attention. I want to say if there's something spiritual kind of like piquing your interest, and you're kind of like, I don't know what that is, but what is that? I'm a little curious. I encourage you to pay attention to that feeling. That calling, even if that's what it feels like. Since there are 2 9s, in general with the 990s, these videos are going to be heavily influenced by this feeling of purpose and helping the world release what no longer works. Since I do believe that there is a mass awakening happening, I also believe that there is a massive release happening. And you can either choose to be part of that or against it. But like I said in a reading recently, you don't want to leave yourself behind. Because when you leave yourself behind, you will be left behind, even in a collective sense. I feel that the world is transitioning into a new era of awareness, if that's the best way to describe it. I know that right now we are in the age of Aquarius. Haven't really done a whole lot of research into that myself, but as an Aquarius and considering the things that I've been through, there's definitely something in there. I mean, and like everything that we've been seeing going on in the world, we are in times. This collective as a whole. And I'm hearing a siren outside, which something about for me these days is about, in my opinion, a little magical and mysterious. You know, being called to pay attention to something. You know, when an alarm goes off, see the number 555 on the timer, which is about the palm of my hand started to itch, and I started interpreting that lately. We are certainly going through money soon. I grew up with that superstition. A lot of us didn't really put a lot of weight into it until I became spiritual, which makes sense. And you may feel that. Yeah. And if you don't, maybe there's something significant here about money and getting money soon. At least that's what I believe. But you will eventually, if you allow yourself to see it, don't get too distracted. Really just depends on how long it will take. The number 3 is also about healing and neutral growing. This is exactly what I feel like we're all doing collectively. So just know if that's what you're doing to help you be more honest and authentic, you're definitely not alone, and you are definitely contributing to something. The number 3 is about greater than self-expression and communication. The number 33 on the timer. I do think we are. The last way that I interpret this number is making a commitment, or whatever you want to call it. First and foremost to yourself. People are really being more honest. You yourself need to be stable and secure before you can build anything. What they believe. So I feel that people are being more authentic, and it's always important to prioritize yourself to your needs. A reality, a collective reality that is more stable and more secure, even if it, looks unstable right now. When you got to think about it, when you transition from a dishonest, deceptive world into one that is more honest and transparent, it's going to be a little chaotic along the way. So keep that in mind. And try not to get too caught up into the details of the everyday, mundane, or crazy. It really just depends on what you're going through, but I feel it's pretty extreme for everybody. We're all really either too bored or too overwhelmed. Or we could experience a little bit of both, but I do think we are finding more balance in this reality within our own lives, within ourselves. Whenever I added the rest of these numbers, because I noticed yesterday when I was recording 992, when you added up all the numbers, it came down to a 2, like when you add them up in terms of like numerology, and now it's doing it again, except it's number 3. I have a feeling it's going to keep happening, at least up until maybe 999. So that is interesting to notice. But yeah, confirmation there to keep working on being more honest and authentic, keep growing, keep healing, keep committing to yourself and what really does mean the most to you. Which I feel like at the top of the list for everybody should be balance and stability. Emotional balance that manifests into physical stability. And I just saw the number 222. Yeah, like I said, balance is a strong theme here. I do interpret the number 2 as balance. Sometimes stability, I see stability more so attached to the number 4, but balance is definitely connected to the number 222. I also interpret it as choices and also prioritizing what means the most to you, literally, like specifically. So be mindful, be wise with your choices, what you choose to do, how you choose to use your power, even if it seems like you don't have much. Like I said, you are the difference. It doesn't matter how much of an influence you have, it just matters that you do, and you always do for as long as you're alive. And it's all because of how connected we actually are, energetically. We can all on the outside pretend and nothing phases us, but on the inside, I want to say that sometimes it can be a hellstorm, if that's the right word. So this could be a significant commitment here for you, especially if you are really trying to learn how to do that, commit more to your needs and taking care of yourself in the way that you deserve. And it can also be about a commitment to anything outside of yourself. You know, it could be a balance, knowing when to choose yourself and to take care of yourself and slow down, and knowing when to take action and to invest, you know? Like I said, balance does seem like a theme here, whether it's in your own life, within yourself, or in the world collectively. I mean, really, all you have to do is just focus on yourself, and naturally, that will contribute to the collective. You don't have to do a big grand thing to make a difference. You are the difference. Whether it's good or bad, you get to decide. I'm going to go ahead and start adding up these numbers. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. And 2 plus 1, believe it or not, is 3. I'm kind of getting a feeling the cards portion of this reading. I'm going to start with drawing out a couple of major arcana cards from the Prisma Visions Tarot. If you don't know, tarot cards have major arcanas and minor arcanas. The majors are more powerful than the minors. I personally look at major arcanas as more like bigger picture, an overall theme or energy, while minor arcanas are more about the details. So let's take a look at the bigger picture here. What is the overall theme of this reading, or maybe the one before that? The number 10, or the first card that I have, it does say accomplish goal. With the throat chakra, self-expression, communication, being more honest, reflect the heavy burden. We have the planet of Venus. Or need to delegate. I believe that is a zodiac sign of Taurus, and I'm not sure what does feel like. Feel free to share in the comments that has come to an end. The Hierophant does have the number 5 on it. Change that you either still desire or once desired. Part of the major theme, which to me feels like it's guidance to move on, mentorship, even if you may not. I feel like this is really about want to. I'm being reminded how in the Magical Dogs feeling a little bit indecisive, because Hierophant is you want a weird shaman. It's literally called the shaman, I think. out there.
So maybe you
whether
feel
it's about love or
shamanism,
or a way of living
or animism, the belief that
it does feel like there's something in your life
has a
that
spiritual
doesn't
presence
deserve to be there, or that you don't deserve.
I actually have personally developed this
to be
new
dealing
belief
with.
that
Our
I think
physical
seeking out
world
guidance
is a physical
no matter what form it
state
comes in, can help
manifestation
you
of better understand how to move
the
forward.
non-material spiritual world.
Or it could help you
Let's go ahead and
get
get
the
out
awareness that you need
one last card from here
to be able. We have the sun in reverse
to move
with
forward.
the chakra of the
I
solar
have a box of
plexus,
cards here. I'm
and
just going to
the
draw out one
planet
of those
the
cards
sun,
to see what comes out, which, should be
to
obvious.
live each day like tomorrow is
Sun
your
card
last.
has the number,
I feel like this is about being
number
wise
19.
about your decisions and not wasting time.
yeah,
And it's not,
1 + 9
a,
is 10.
don't like stress it. This feels like it's
confirmation
more
of the
about
presence of your spirit
intentionally
guides, ignoring the
possibly
truth.
even your ancestors if you're feeling. Don't waste
You know,
time
like you're trying to find more stability,
trying to
security
understand how to move
in your
forward,
life,
like
to
we've been
move on.
talking about. It's really reminding me of the number
From
4.
something like
It feels like
one
you're really
plus
being
0 and the
encouraged
number
to get
10
going,
is the number
to
1,
get
of
to
course,
it.
which is a sign to trust yourself.
Didn't I say that in the beginning?
I'm going
once?
to
A
finish
message
up this
about trust.
reading.
Yeah, I saw the number 1
by
drawing out a couple of
So
these
just a little
index
reminder
cards.
to trust yourself.
The
See
sun in reverse, the last messages
that want
you
to
know what,
come
it's
out
very clear
for you.
because the sun in reverse for me gives a feeling of there's a lot of darkness, or there's a lack of awareness,
Spiders.
a lack of consciousness. And with the Hierophant here, that's literally about seeking out awareness, consciousness, guidance. Well, really it's more about guidance, and it can be about seeking out awareness if you're looking for advice. But I think this is a very interesting combination, because it does feel like your focus is seeking out, regardless of what the cards mean specifically. The general message here, or idea, is seeking out awareness, more light, more illumination, really being able to see more, to feel more. And what I mean by see more, I mean by your third eye. Seeing more spiritually, energetically. This is bringing me back to animism. I feel like there's something here about being more aware of the spirit realm, or the spiritual reality that I believe manifests the current reality that we're in. Next, I'm going to draw out a couple more cards from these playing cards. These are more subtle. They reflect minor arcana cards, so this is going to be more detailed with these cards. More immediate, possibly, even. The only card that isn't really reflected here is the Page, so just wanted to put that out there so you knew. First card is the 2 of Spades, which is the 2 of Swords. It says decisive. Decisive gives me this feeling of mental clarity. Perhaps there's a choice or many choices here that you feel or should feel confident about making. This reminds me of when I said it, something along the lines of how it might take time to get better at seeing what you deserve faster. You know, like you won't have to think about it as much the more that you practice that kind of reflection. The number 2, like we already said, is about choices and balance, so there's confirmation of that. It can also be about indecision, too. We have the next is the 10 of, what do you call it? What are these? Clubs? Which is the 10 of Wands, accomplished goal. We have another 10 here. Your spirit guides really, really wanting to make their presence known to you. I believe the reading before this one also had 2 10s. Well, first, my phone ran out of storage, and second, when I tried to start recording again about a minute and 20 seconds in, I realized that my phone was acting weird. It was recording, but it wasn't saving to my gallery, so that was a little bit frustrating. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind from here on out, so I remember that that happens. But, as I was saying, spiders remind me of making your dreams come true because of the idea that they make a web. I guess you could say to make their home. So maybe you feel called to build that, a home that is more stable, more secure, where you're surrounded by close relationships that are also more stable and secure. It may be helpful to pay attention to people who appear to be, to lack stability or security, so you can know who to be cautious around. Because I believe that if you are more stable and secure as a person, it's hard to have a relationship with people who aren't like that, who can't meet you where you're at. So I'm going to keep that in mind if it feels important for you to do so. I'm also always reminded about how spiders have 8 legs, because when you're in school, they teach you that the difference between an insect and a spider is, well, an insect and an arachnid, I think. The difference is insects have 6 legs and arachnids have 8. And the number 8 is about loss and trusting that whatever is lost will be replaced. And as I was trying to get to before I realized that this portion wasn't even recording, whatever it's time to walk away from, to let go of, trust that there's more. There is